Yo, what is good? Hi, TF Mob. It is your boy Booba back with another weekly analysis. I'm just gonna get it popped off right away. I just want to start off by saying I hope you guys had a great weekend. I hope you guys got the stuff done that y'all needed to, or at least got to enjoy yourselves for this nice 2 day break. So or 3 day break, however y'all see it. But to get things kicked off right away, I'm just going to start off with AU. We're just going to start from the top, kick it off with the monthly pair, and just check out our candle. Market's open like 25 minutes ago. So right now, again, I'm keeping all the lines the same for my high frame overview. And on this monthly candle, I still do see it being a bearish finish, but the way it's looking on these weeklies, this week, last week was an indecision close. So between buyers and sellers, they pretty much closed out at about a 50-50. So basically we're in an indecisive market. We don't know which way they want to take it, to the upside or downside just yet. But we won't find out till this week is what it looks like. So if price wants to pop off to the upside, we may be seeing a retest at this past weekly high here, or this previous weekly high. And then if it retests and gives us signals to sell down, then we can expect that we're going to end off the week with a bearish move, unless the only other thing that can happen is a vice versa. Price comes down, tests this low, respects, and then we close, to the upside. So with that, if we want to see the detail, you guys already know what we got to do. We got to go down on the frames. So here, looks like we have a bullish engulfing daily signal there. So looks like the buyers are in control at the moment, which means on the 4-hour pair, you may be able to find a move within this candle on the way up to these previous highs here. That previous weekly high, I'm assuming on that indecision candle was probably this, because we had the buyers, then we had the sellers, and then we closed out at about the same 50% mark between the peak high and the peak low. So with this, it's safe to say we're probably still in the downtrend, but we'll just have to wait and see. And this did close, right? Yeah, this closed a little bit below this wick. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. And then in the meantime, we'll just break down our low frames, identify our anchor points. On this pair, I actually just left it alone just to kind of, because there wasn't much breaking of our swing highs and swing lows. We just been in consolidative zone. So if you wanted, you could call this, you could consider this whole thing a channel here. I think I mentioned this last week, but or on the Friday overview. Let me see. Okay, boom. So yeah, you could say this is a channel, and price may break out, come up and test here, or continue past, and then we may go up for TP1s on this side. So we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out for the week. I'm not in too much of a rush to get into any setups for today. As always, Sunday is more of a relaxed trading day. I'm already down 6% total on the test, so I don't need to be rushing into anything. I just need to make sure I find a clean and clear move that can just help me get back on my feet with the account, and then from there, just find some winning setups for the rest of the week. But I'm not looking to get too aggressive again, because we're still coming up on the end of this month, which means this candle may not have that much movement left within it unless some crazy news hits, which is what we have our economic calendar events for. So GBP USD, in that context, because here, let's go back to our AU really quick, because I have the liquidity zones marked. This institutional block is marked here for the downtrend. So price coming back is marking this as a point of interest. Price coming back is where I'd be looking for the re-entries. So if price were to come back to this real rise block here, I may be looking to take another sell down to the weekly low. But if it breaks above my real rise block, then I may be looking to take that buy. But in the meantime, if I do find a clean setup, right? Let's try this real quick. Let's go on our 15-minute. We know price broke out of this liquidity pool here. We know this may be a retest for price. So price may actually go ahead and consolidate like so. Okay. So we're going to have some ranging going on. And what I could do is look for a break and retest of this liquidity pool. But in the meantime, we'll let price do its thing. And then we'll look for our targets on the left, depending on where we break out. So we break out this side, we're looking for these liquidity pools down here. If we break out the upside, we're looking for these liquidity pools here. This is a pretty large one. So keep in mind, I'm just going to give a little refresher because I know I'm kind of like at this point in the series, I'm kind of wow, I can't even talk. At this point in the series, I'm just kind of like skimming over the pairs, basically how I would break it down. Because I don't, like I said, a lot of what I do is just tweaks on the map, the outlook that I have overall. And at that point, I'm just I'm reading price off the lines. So basically, I'm letting price come to me, and then I react based off what I'm seeing in those moments, and then kind of map it out to my TP zones on either side. So you're seeing me go through it a lot quicker now versus in the beginning when I was just breaking down so much information. But keep in mind, we do have our anchor point set, which is our swing high being here, our swing low being here, which means in the meantime, overall, yes, we are still in a downtrend. But as far as an internal break of structure, price has broke structure back to the upside because it marked this low here. I marked this low here. It created this high, created this higher low, and then price came up and then broke out of it. It took a while. It ranged for sure, created an ascending triangle pattern, and then broke out the high here. So this created a new internal structure, break of internal structure, which is not significant to the anchor points, but can help us find a more precise entry to this overall sell. Because remember, we're still in a downtrend overall, just because of the high frame. So what we'll be looking for is price to maybe spike up and then come through and wipe out all this liquidity and then break out the swing low here. So this could have just been them collecting a bunch of contracts to try to fill orders for a big move, either to the upside to complete a big pattern this way or to the downside. But we'll just give it time. So I remember when I'm on my hourly, I love to play off the anchor points because it makes things a lot more clear for me. And I'm able to follow the price action a lot easier without getting lost on what's happening with the higher frames. So like with, whoa, I'm pretty sure I thought I cleaned all this, but okay. So like with AU, GU is kind of in that same exact boat. There isn't much to mess with because, again, there wasn't a lot of activity like last week. It was just a lot of price going both ways. So we do know prices swing highs here, prices swing lows here. This is a low that caused this high to get wiped out. We could even say this was the low here. Actually, no, we could say it's this one. Hold on. Right here. The reason why I say this one specifically is because this created this failed high here that couldn't break this previous one, came down and then set this peak low on this wick, and then spiked up and broke this high. So this is technically the swing low. So this is just a liquidity pool, so don't worry about these two lines. Okay. Boom. Okay. So now that we have this set up, so I'm going to be looking for price to break to the downside for continuation. So all I see is prices building up at this point of interest, and I'll be looking to take this alongside the daily if that plays out. But in the meantime, it just looks like price is testing its lows. Again, a lot of indecisive movement, just like AU. So these two are pairs to either watch for this week or next month, based off how they want to move. And here on AJ, it's probably going to be, it's looking bearish for me based off of how we moved last week. We had a lot of buy happening throughout the past 3 weeks, and we might have to come back down and collect contracts. So it's looking like we've already went through our accumulation phase, and now it's coming back through the distribution phase to collect a lot of liquidity on this left side. So based off where my anchor points are and my point of interest, You can see here I have my swing high set, my swing low is here. Prices bounce off the swing low, and we're waiting for price to respect this institutional point of interest. And if it does, then I'll be looking to take that sell down. But in the meantime, I want to wait till about like 8 o'clock tomorrow or 9 o'clock in the morning, depending on how quick they set up. Let's see. GJ is actually looking very identical. AJ, GJ, and UJ are always pretty similar. So whatever's going on with one, I tend to just take the same trade on the other. And then whichever ones decide to play out. And the ones that don't, I close out just to let the ones that are running run in profit. But here I could just see this huge M pattern that might be planned out going into the next month for a little bit. And then we might get a bounce off our TP1 line here. If not, we may even drop lower to TP2 and collect a lot of contracts. But that'd be a big dip down, which means those buys that we're looking for GJ wouldn't happen maybe till August. So, or unless some crazy news volatility happen, because there is 3 big spikes that happen here. So let me actually pull something up real quick. Boom. Yeah, it looks like there was news for the GDP growth rate. So we had 3 high impact news, and looks like from the actual result, we have a 0.8. The forecast was a 1. So it came out less than, and the previous amount was a 1.3. So that was negative for so the news that came out wasn't good for the Great Britain pound. So this is why the JPY had this spike down. GBP JPY had this spike down because it got really weak in that moment. So yeah, whenever you see these long wicks and you do have the economic calendar event, you could see reasons why the spikes happen. That's just abnormal movement. It's usually institutional dumps. So that's something that might happen going into next week for the next monthly candle, and they may just set a wick at the low for people to get in to continue to the upside. Because this candle has to break off. So we'll see what happens going into the 30th of June. And if it's going downwards, we know exactly what that is. It could be just a setup. So UJ is the same deal. It's been buying the same way this candle is ending off is kind of what GJ and AJ should have been looking like, but they're lagging behind a little bit, which is a good thing because usually the slower pairs are ones that you can make up for missing the faster pairs on. UJ moves really quick. So this is just a good foresight for what should be coming up within this month and the next month. But in the meantime, I believe UJ is going to pull back because it has been buying so much. We do see price topping off at this previous weekly indecision candle. This next candle is starting off by selling. So on the daily, we may see some structure set up. We're mainly looking for that break of structure. So if price does trail up from where it is now, we know it's just a daily candle moving up to test this previous area. If it continues down, we know it's just breaking its structure to continue to test the lows. So we can go down to the 4-hour and see price did try trailing up. It is losing its momentum to the upside. So at 8 today, we could see if this is fully closing bearish. And if it is, we can consider that a bearish engulfing signal to take this sell to the downside. So if I'm marking this on my 1-hour, now I have my swing low here. Boom. I have my 1-hour swing high right here. Boom. Okay, so we know we're in trend. Let's just make sure. So this was the high that caused this previous low to break, which led to this swing low getting set. And then we see price has respected it ever since. So as long as price doesn't come back up, I'm going to set my institutional block here. Boom. There we go. And down to the 15-minute. And we could look for breaker structures on 15 minutes. There's also an entry method that Real Rise Academy does use, which should be looking for a double breaker structure on the 1 hour. So that's one right there. Then we need one more over here. Actually, hold on. It might be two already. Yeah, so if you get a double breaker structure here, and then we get on the 1 minute a situation where price leaves a wick, they swipe the liquidity, and then they leave a mark, and then they retest it, but don't actually break it. This is a good sign price will fall from it, meaning institutions should be getting ready to step in. So the pattern generally will look like this. And I brought this up a lot earlier before, just to reiterate, it will look something like this. Okay. And the reason why this is a good entry point, again, is because that quick movement of price going to the upside and then wiping out its previous low is not a normal movement. No one can do that with just the income they have. It would be too small. So you need large pools of income, and banks generally tend to leave this mark whenever they make this movement, which is kind of what looks like happening here. Same motions. So we seen this move. If we see this movement in our real rise block, this is a valid setup to take. There you go. Price came and retested, and then it failed, and then fell to the downside. So it's fairly similar. And the double breaker structure was, when I get specific here, one right there. And one right here. Boom. So now we have this falling price, and then you could actually squeeze your entry here. And then of course you mark liquidity all to the left side. You can take it down to the wick, or you can be safe, take it down to the next previous wick here where price was pushed up. So yeah, this could be a valid sell setup. I would give it time. I would still also give it room just to be safe. But otherwise, those are all the setups for this week that I'll be looking at. Let's actually mark the swing highs and lows on here too. Boom. I'll be keeping a close eye because I actually, if they set up clear, it should be dead giveaways for what's going on. Boom, boom, boom. All right. And institutional block is here. So if the trend wants to continue, we should see price respect this point of interest. If it breaks above, we'll look for vice versa. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what we'll be looking for. Again, if you guys haven't brushed up on how I'm breaking down these lower frames, feel free to check out the earlier videos in the series, and that'll help you get more clarity on why every week all my outlook is pretty much the same lines, but the smaller lines always change and shift. So if you guys want to challenge yourself, definitely feel free to look at the Friday reviews to see what moves I got in and out of and what moves were losses, but also just take in consideration the math side of things as well, just so that you can practice applying it to your own skill. So I hope you guys do enjoy this. I'll come back Friday to post the review for the week, and we should have a good week. So peace out. Hi, TF Mo.